One of the most repeatable phrases I hear from leaders is this: my people don't take ownership. And it doesn't matter whether I'm sitting with a CEO, a department manager, or a team leader. Eventually, the conversation arrives there. They don't think ahead. They wait to be told. They don't take initiative. And almost every time, the discussion turns straight to the people. How do we motivate them? How do we hold them accountable? How do we make them more committed? But after more than 20 years working inside organizations, I've came to a different conclusion. I don't think ownership is primarily a people problem. I think it's a behavioral one. And more specifically, I think we've misunderstood what ownership actually is. Let me explain what I mean. I want to start our conversation today with this. Imagine I ask you to organize next month's client meeting. I've delegated a task. If I also tell you that you are responsible for coordinating the agenda, inviting the attendees, and making sure everything is ready, now what I did, I gave you a responsibility. On a later stage, we review the outcome together. That's accountability. But ownership is something else. Ownership is the moment you start thinking beyond what you were asked to do. It's noticing a potential problem before someone points it out. It's asking a question because something doesn't feel right. It's caring about the quality of the outcome, not just completing your part of it. And no leader can assign that because ownership isn't an instruction. Ownership is more like a decision. It is a decision. And here's another thing I've watched repeating itself across very different companies. Most organizations say they want ownership, but many of them, without even realizing it, reward compliance instead. And I want you to think about the everyday messages people receive. Don't make mistakes. Follow the process. Ask before making changes. Stay within your role. Don't overstep. These things individually, none of them sound unreasonable. But if you put everything together, they add up to something powerful because your people learn that the safest behavior is to wait for approval, wait for instructions, wait for certainty. And after a while, waiting becomes the norm. And then leaders look around and ask, why doesn't everyone or anyone take initiative? But behavior doesn't appear out of nowhere. It's shaped by the environment it grows in. And if independent thinking consistently creates discomfort, people eventually stop thinking independently. And this is where a lot of leadership conversations go, of course. Because when someone misses an opportunity and nobody speaks up, what happens? The problem grows larger than it needed to. And the conclusion that we draw as human beings is usually we have an accountability issue. Maybe, I'm not saying no, maybe, but always ask a different question first. Was there clarity? Did people actually understand what success, the end of result, look like? Were they trusted to make decisions? Did they believe they were allowed to think beyond their job description? Or had they learned that staying safe mattered more than stepping in? Sometimes what looks like low ownership, what it is actually is learned caution. And this is a different problem and needs a different solution. Over the years, I've noticed three conditions that consistently show up wherever real ownership exists. The first is clarity. People need more than a task list. They need to understand the outcome they are working towards on and why it matters. Second is trust. When every decision requires approval, people stop making decisions and eventually they stop trying to. And the third is meaning. People take ownership far more readily when they can see how their contribution connects to the bigger picture. You see, ownership grows when people feel connected to the outcome, not just assigned to the work. And I would like to suggest this today. The next time you catch yourself thinking, my team doesn't take ownership, pause for a second and think and ask yourself, why don't they care? What have they learned is the safest way to behave here? Because behavior always makes sense in context. If waiting feels safer than acting, people will wait. If speaking up carries risk, people will stay quiet. And if thinking independently is consistently welcome rather than corrected, ownership starts to appear. And this happens not because you demand it, but because of the environment. And the message I want to pass to you today is this: ownership can be delegated, it can be demanded, and it certainly won't show up because you added another accountability meeting to your calendar. Ownership is cultivated through the behaviors leaders consistently encourage, tolerate, and reward. This week, I'm exploring ownership from a very different angle on LinkedIn, in the newsletter, and in a few next episodes here. So here's what I would like to leave you with. What's one behavior you've seen in a team that genuinely built ownership and one that quietly killed it? Tell me in the comments. I am Penelope Maguglianidi, and every week here we study one behavior that quietly shapes how people work, lead, and perform. I will see you in the next episode.